From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
Happy holidays from Weather NorCal and our sponsors. Have a wonderful holiday season.
Happy Thursday morning to you. I'm Chief Meteorologist Mike Krueger. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning on Weather NorCal. And of course, we've got some weather to talk about. That is for sure. Let's start off by taking a look at our weather headlines. Off and on rain through the weekend. We're also continuing that flooding potential, mudslides, debris flows, gusty winds. We saw them last night. Power outages as a result. We've got more winds today, but even stronger going into tonight. But the good news is it looks like things are quieting down for next week. We're going to get a bit of a break from all of this, and I do expect a drier trend as we go into next week. All right, here's a look at Krueger's quick cast for your Thursday, December 26th. Look at the peak gusts that we did see last night. You can see they were over 60 miles per hour in parts of Del Norte County, 40 miles per hour plus in Wairika, over 40 miles per hour in the valley. We did see power outages in some areas last night and, of course, this morning. This is what it looked like this morning. One means 1,000, approximately 1,000 people were out without power in Del Norte County, Shasta County, over 200 people out in Siskiyou County as well. We may be seeing more blue on this map here, especially as we go into tonight and early tomorrow morning, because once again, we're expecting some very strong winds again here for tonight. We also have a winter weather advisory for the areas in purple for Friday morning and Friday afternoon. We also have, because of the high seas, we've got a high surf advisory until 11 o'clock tonight. So a lot going on out there. And we'll get you out the door this morning. Maybe you do have to head back to work, or maybe you got the rest of the week off. But anyway you look at it, it is going to be wet for most of us. Still a bit gusty out there for some of us as well. And snow, probably around 4,000 feet, give or take. So you can see the storm system that passed through last night is pushing off to the east. Now what you'll notice is we've got another line of moisture right here. That's the next atmospheric river that's going to be impacting us over the next couple of days. Now, we're also looking at the potential for thunderstorms here this afternoon, especially to the north and west of the valley. But we can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm for the valley this afternoon. But again, we're talking about that flood potential, mudslides and debris flows, especially for the areas in dark green here. And this is going to continue over the next couple of days. Let's take a look at Futurecast here and walk into the timing of all this. Now, where I expect most of the rain to be is the north end of the valley, not as much to the south. We're seeing snow between 4,000 and 5,000 feet. Now, I think this morning, initially, it could be lower than that, maybe 3,500 feet. Places like Mount Shasta City may see some snow this morning. We head out towards Trinity County. There's some rain there, but look at this. We're not seeing much on the coast this morning at 9 a.m. That fills back in, though, through the morning hours by midday. Notice again where most of the rain is in the valley. Red Bluff northward, not as much down to the south. We're still seeing snow between 4,000 and 5,000 feet, and there's that heavier rainfall out to the west of the valley. Now, see that? See the heavier rainfall developing later this afternoon for especially the north end of the valley? Can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm there, but now we're beginning to see better chances for showers for everybody in the valley. But keep in mind, this is not a lot of rain that we're going to be looking at throughout the day today in the valley. Most of it will be to the north and west, and of course off to the east of the valley as well. But look at this push of moisture coming in here tonight. By 10 o'clock tonight, the coast, even parts of the valley, starting to see some of that heavier rainfall. Snow levels probably beginning to climb at this point, maybe above 6,000 feet. But you can see as we go into tomorrow morning, most of that rain and snow is pretty much gone at this point here. But still, some drizzle, low clouds, and some of that fog out there as well. All right, we take a look at those road conditions here. Expected by noon. I-5 turns over at midday. Looks like kind of a wintry mix. Looks like Highway 299 West, 36 West look to be okay for now. Okay, then we go to 5 p.m. We're still seeing that mix. Cedar Pass, plenty of chain requirements above 4,000 or 5,000 feet in the eastern mountains. But we're beginning to see less blues and more in the ways of these pinks and reds. That's just indicating that we're getting more of a wintry mix. So we're kind of transitioning from all snow to maybe a bit of a mix in there, maybe even some ice on the highways as well. So it doesn't mean conditions are going to be, safe. It just means that it'd be less in the way of snow, but it's still going to be something that you need to check those road conditions here for tonight and tomorrow morning. Now look at the winds here midday today, a bit breezy really across the board here throughout the day today, but they're going to start to pick up here as we go into the evening. And look at this, by tonight it's lighting up again. Now it may not be as strong as what we saw last night, but we're talking gusts of 40, even 50 miles per hour, I think in some cases here, before the winds do subside again going into tomorrow morning, but still pretty gusty even at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning here for the valley and even in the eastern mountains, but they should subside through the day tomorrow. Temperatures today will be in the low to even some mid-50s for the valley. We're talking mainly 30s and 40s for the higher elevations, and along the coast it looks like temperatures somewhere in the mid-50s for your daytime highs. Looking at your 7-day outlook for the valley, so we've got those showers today off and on really through the weekend. And then as we go into Monday, we're finally drying things out. And I'm beginning to see better signs of drier weather. There were indications that maybe even off and on chances for showers through next week for a good part of Northern California, but I'm beginning to see that chance begin to diminish. For the coast, inland, and for Trinity County, off and on through Sunday, maybe a lingering chance on Monday. Otherwise, we're dry through the middle of next week once we do get into the beginning of next week. Siskiyou, Modoc, and the eastern mountains. Snow levels today could get as low as 3,500 feet, but eventually tonight, tomorrow, climbing back up to 6,000 feet, maybe dropping again on Sunday. Now, Monday, again, I'm keeping that slight chance in there even for the mountains before it dries out entirely. But there's a very good chance it may not even rain or snow on Monday either. I'm just going to keep that as a heads up. That's something that we still need to watch here. All right, that's a look at Krueger's QuickCast. Stick around because we have got more to talk about. We're going to go beyond the next 24 hours and what we can expect as we go into the weekend. If you're traveling at all, there are going to be showers and thunderstorms up to our north as we go into down to the south here for your Thursday. Looks like still very pleasant weather down into Southern California. For your Friday, still the showers. Snow again is going to be an issue here if you are going to be traveling up in the Pacific Northwest. But again, down towards Southern California, pleasant weather as to be expected. For your Saturday, still the overcast skies, still cool, showers, snow in the higher elevations, mountain passes in Washington and Oregon. But of course, we don't have to worry about snow in Southern California with 76 degrees for a high in Palm Springs on Saturday. Oh, that's your travel forecast. If you do have to travel, meantime, we're looking at the storm system that moved through last night. That's right here. We've got the next atmospheric river that will be moving in and having an impact on our weather. Let's take a look at that. See that? That's the atmospheric river right here. That's going to be moving in our direction over the next 12 to 24 hours. We see a little bit of a break, but that same source of moisture brings in more by Friday through the weekend, and it's beginning to look like as we go into Sunday, it's going to shift down to the south. We're no longer under the influence of that moisture, and we're looking at the drier weather pattern. Sunday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, even Wednesday of next week. Now you see this one right here, that's going to be aimed mainly at the Pacific Northwest as we go into the middle of next week. Some of it may kind of trickle down into Northern California, giving us maybe at least some clouds, but at this point, I don't anticipate any rainfall for most of us in Northern California for Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. We'll have to watch and see what this does. Is it going to break off and then kind of the moisture just kind of dissipates, or do we see this kind of shift down to the south, giving us maybe a better chance for showers by the end of next week? We'll see. But for now, we're going to keep it dry here for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Take a look at the atmospheric river impact. And again, I show this to you because this is part of the weather story, right? We don't use the term I don't use the term atmospheric river as a scare tactic or as a way to get clicks, right? This is just part of the weather story. So these spikes here are the atmospheric rivers. It's the breaks between them that we talk about, okay, are we going to get a long enough break where we recover, or is there going to be a better potential for flooding? And this is still that potential for flooding here in this area right here. But look at this. See this big dive down into no atmospheric rivers? That's what we saw there as we went to Sunday afternoon, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, no atmospheric rivers and drier conditions. Again, quick reminder of what all these different categories mean. Category 1 is primarily beneficial rainfall. That's good. We don't have to worry about flooding. It's just beneficial rainfall. AR5, all hazards. Yeah, the rain, you got lots of it, but you're talking about flooding, you're talking about gusty winds. Now, what we're looking at here, and we have been in that AR2 to AR3. So essentially, when you get in the AR2, AR3, you see how it's kind of balanced and beneficial and hazardous, and then mostly beneficial and also hazardous. Basically, we're looking at an AR2 and 3 rainfall that we're happy to see. It's a good thing, but the problem is it's also can bring us those hazards, such as the flooding, the mudslides, and the debris flows. And on top of that, we saw the gusty winds last night. We could be looking at some more gusty winds here over the next 24 hours. So with that all being said, we look at today, the areas in green, we have the best potential for flooding. We go into tomorrow, pretty much the same areas. We go into Saturday, once again, we still have that flood risk potential. Now, thunderstorms today, it looks like the Storm Prediction Center is now backed off on that potential, but I still think there could be a slight chance for some thunderstorms here this afternoon, even for parts of the north end of the valley. All right, let's walk you through the timing of all of this and take a look at what's going on here. You'll notice, number one, we're not just seeing that stream of moistures. So we're not looking at a very strong atmospheric river, right? But check this out. As we go through the morning today, we're beginning to see more rain, especially for the north end of the valley, snow in the mountains between 4,000 and 5,000 feet. But even at 10 a.m., it still could be as low as 3,500 feet, I think, in some cases. We're beginning to fill in with more rain off to the west, but still not much down into Southern California, into the southern portions of the valley. And of course, there you can see some of the snow in the higher elevations. Chain requirements, check the road conditions. You need to do that here throughout the day today. By 5 p.m., it's needing to fill in more. This is, look at that atmospheric river. That's going to start really impacting us as we go into tonight. You see that? Now we're seeing that just steady rain, moderate to heavy at times, gusty winds. We've got snow levels higher, probably 4,000 to 5,000 feet, and maybe even higher than that. And then as we go into tomorrow morning, look what's happening. It's gone. Right now we're seeing things drought. We're seeing a bit of a break. We're breaking off from that atmospheric river before the next one comes in as we go into Friday night and Saturday. But there you can see, we're just not seeing a lot of rain or snow for that matter at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Probably just the low clouds, some mist, some drizzle, even some breaks in the clouds in some areas, but I think the clouds will kind of really stay in the valley with mist and drizzle, but not much in the way of anything organized as far as rain. But by Friday afternoon, Friday evening, we start to see the next round of showers begin to move on in, and especially after the north and west of the valley, that'll be pushing through Friday night into Saturday, giving us our next round of rain. In fact, you can see here, 8 p.m. on Friday, you see how it's pushing through. We're seeing some moderate to heavy rainfall in some spots here. And then you can see as we go into midnight Saturday, most of it's up to the north. But notice too, we're not seeing a lot of blue on the map. That's because snow levels are going to be above 6,000, 7,000 feet. So we have to go up pretty high in elevation before you start seeing that snow. 5 a.m. on Saturday. Most of the rain to the north and west, then that starts to kind of push on through, but it's also breaking apart. So we're not going to see a ton of rain, looks like, on Saturday, but still overcast skies, scattered showers throughout the day on Saturday, even for the valley. That breaks apart. But this right here is going to be that last push. This will be pushing down to the south here for Saturday night into Sunday, and that's going to bring us even more rainfall. All right, so let's take a look at your future, your forecast rainfall totals. It's showing about 3 inches for Redding, but about an inch in Chico. So let's just call it between 1 and maybe 2 to 2.5 inches of rain. That might be overdoing it, but we'll see here for Redding. Look at this, 2 to 4 inches possibly for parts of the coast here, and maybe even upwards of an inch out towards the north and east. As mentioned earlier, there's a winter weather advisory for Siskiyou, northern Trinity County, and also in the eastern mountains through tomorrow. You can also see that the snow totals in the mountain communities are going to be rather low, and that's because we are looking at high snow levels. So places like Mount Shasta, places like Chester, Quincy, Portola, yeah, maybe you see a bit of a mix at times, especially early on, but overall, it's going to be above those mountain communities. So where you're seeing these pinks, that's where you're seeing several feet of snow, but that's at elevations of 6,000, 7,000, 8,000 feet, right? So let's take a look at the forecast road conditions for the rest of the day today into tomorrow morning. Midday, you're seeing more of that mix on I-5 and Highway 89. That doesn't mean that it's going to be rain. It just means that it's going to be kind of snow at times and maybe a wet snow, and it could create some problems and even some chain requirements in those areas. And of course, we're still seeing snow off to the east. But notice Highway 299 west, notice Highway 36 west. We're not really seeing a lot of precipitation there, so we don't have to worry too much about chain requirements. But on Scott Mountain and Highway 3, sure, yeah, 5 o'clock today, still looking at that mix there for I-5 around Mount Shasta and Snowman Summit. Now we're seeing heavier snow in the higher elevations, but it looks like these are kind of starting to taper off a bit. We're not seeing as much, and now we're starting to see those snow levels really climb, and that's why we're seeing more of that mix by early tomorrow morning. Once again, I want you to go to weathernorcal.com, click on the road conditions, and that will give you all the information you need when it comes to checking the latest road conditions, what the latest Caltrans cameras there at a quick glance. Again, weathernorcal.com, click on the road conditions section, and you'll be good to go. All right, so here's Saturday. You see, remember I was mentioning we're just not seeing as much rain on Saturday? That's because that atmospheric river is pointed here. But as we go into Saturday night into Sunday, look what happens. It's diving down to the south. So by Sunday morning, another round of some steady, heavier rainfall. But then by Sunday afternoon, that's starting to move on out. Now Monday, I still think there could be a lingering shower for some of the coast and some of the mountains, but otherwise we're dry Monday through Wednesday. Here's that next atmospheric river I was talking about. See where it's aimed? It's for the Pacific Northwest. So we're not going to get any rainfall out of it, but we'll probably still see at least some high clouds kind of filtering on through. The amount of rainfall we expect at least through Sunday. Of course, this takes you through Wednesday, but we're not going to see anything Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So this is basically for the next, really through the weekend. About 1 to maybe 3 inches of rain for the valley. And then, of course, I think we'll see a lot more than that for parts of the coast. And we could see upwards of an inch for parts of the north and east as well. So the Climate Prediction Center, look at this. We're beginning to see this kind of shift a little bit more to the south, but we're still kind of in that normal category. Bottom line is this. It's just not going to be as wet as it's been this week as we go through next week. But I still expect to see the warmer than normal conditions. And so when we do see that rain, it's going to be high snow levels. Hey, by the way, lake levels, they are really beginning to feel the impacts, and we're starting to see them rise here. Last 24 hours out of the Shasta Lake, about basically 1.5 feet. Not very impressive for Trinity Lake, but Lake Oroville, look at that, almost 2 feet. We've seen that lake rise in the last 24 hours. So that's one of the good things that we can kind of take from all of this rain. Take a look at the ski park. If you're heading out to the ski park today at Mount Shasta, you still got about 55 inches of snow out there at the summit. Now, I am a little concerned that as we do go into the next 24 hours, we're going to see those snow levels begin to climb. In fact, you can see here, as we go through Saturday 5 p.m., did you see that? We're not seeing much more in the way of accumulating snow. That's because as we go into tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and Saturday, it may mainly be in the form of rain. We'll have to kind of wait and see, but for now, it looks like today it will be in the form of snow out at the ski park, but by tomorrow it may transition over to rain, unfortunately. There are the gusty winds we do expect, kind of we'll call it breezy, borderline windy today. By midnight tonight, the next wind event, 30, 40, even 50 miles per hour, I think in some cases. I think we could see the potential for more power outages tonight, unfortunately. And then tomorrow morning, still gusty, especially for the valley eastward. They start to subside, but as they do, now we're seeing the next round of wind come in here, especially for the coast. There's Saturday morning, gusty still even for the valley. And there you can see, even as we go into Saturday 5 p.m., still gusty. So the main wind event after the one we saw last night will be again tonight, and then off and on breezy, borderline windy conditions here off and on for tomorrow and even through the day on Saturday. Now, as a result, we do have a high surf advisory until 11 o'clock tonight. That does include pretty much the entire coast. Here's your wave heights as we go through today. Let's take you into your Friday. They're not changing much, are they? So we've still got some fairly high wave heights. Now, take a look at this. The winds are from the south at 15 to 20 knots. Look at your waves. I mean, we've got some pretty intense waves out there. On top of that, we do have a hazardous seas warning through the day today. Not a good day to be on that small boat. Here's a look at your forecast for Trinity County. Of course, temperatures are going to be somewhere in the low to even those mid-40s for your daytime highs. We take you out to the north coast, 56 out in Eureka, 53 for Blue Lake, and 56 degrees in Shelter Cove. Up north, 51 for Klamath, 49 degrees for Gas Key, and there's Orleans with a high of about 48. Siskiyou County, we've got those temperatures somewhere in the low to mid-40s for your daytime highs, drying out, especially by Tuesday. As I mentioned, maybe a slight chance on Monday, but for the most part, I think everyone that says chance on Monday, most likely will be dry, and that's something I'll be, of course, monitoring over the next few days. Temperatures will be in the upper 30s, low 40s in Modoc County. Eastern Mountains, we're talking 45 for Shingletown, 49 in Paradise, but Viola, much cooler at about 39. 43 for Janesville and Susanville, and 43 in Quincy. And your Valley neighborhood forecast brought to you by Walgamith Painting. Your temperatures in the low to mid 50s for your daytime highs, off and on showers through Sunday, drying out by early next week. 52 for a high in the city of Shasta Lake, 50 in Whiskeytown, and 54 degrees in Red Bluff. Here's a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding, and there you can see, of course, the off and on showers here through the weekend. Dry by Monday with temperatures in the mid 50s, and New Year's Day, mostly sunny skies and a high of 55. Well, that is your morning update. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back again this afternoon with your latest forecast. Have a great morning.
Caltrans is doing the best that they can with the amount of people and the amount of equipment they have, and they're out there trying to keep the roads safe and trying to keep everybody running, because if the roads shut down, truck drivers that are paid by the miles aren't making any money. So we want everybody to put chains on for the safety of themselves and the safety of the public. It's not worth it to drive without chains.